All right. So let's talk about what's going on tonight with Red Wings. Where it's currently recording this, it is about 2 p.m. It's about 5 hours from puck drop ish. Well, 2:15. So yeah, around that time. Yeah. And as anyone's following the team this year in 2023, 2024 knows, like, oh yeah, there shouldn't even be an Eastern Conference playoff race at all, which is going on right now between the four teams. That shouldn't even be happening because shouldn't have lost eight straight and scored by Arizona 6-3 or what 9-3 and two games, whatever it was. It was not a good look for the team, and but a very exposing stat about Dylan Larkin and his record on and off the roster was very interesting. That stat came up kind of mid during that losing streak on broadcast, and I'm like, oh, that is statistically significant. So that's a whole other video for a different time. Right now I'm like, oh, okay. Well, we're on the dawning hours of the game against the first game against Montreal, for the last two of the year, which is I told my mom who doesn't really follow hockey, like even if we win these last three, I told her this before the Toronto game the other night. Even if we win these last three and get 6 points, that still doesn't guarantee we get the playoffs. Like it's not in our own hands. Other teams have to lose, and it's just a mess. But it'd be interesting to see how things finish out the record comparing it to last year. But I think the team has improved a lot, and it's a lot to look forward to. And yeah, but no, we definitely all the attention for tonight's game and tomorrow night. Again, it's a home and home Montreal with the Wings for the last two games of the year to decide what points they can eke out. Uh, but I did want to record this for posterity's sake, just so we can see where things start and where they go. This is very makeshift set wise. Just put up some. Oh, I've had these things, but they've been here for months. Just I can position the laptop at an angle, like yeah, I can capture all this with the banner and the jerseys. Yeah, all that good stuff. And that's only a half Tigers hat in above that jersey because I got that from my recent. Where's the thing? I went to the Rangers game. It was April 5th. Yeah, that's why I got this puck because I didn't have a ticket. So I'm like, I need something to record this by. So that's why it happened. Um, and it was fun. Good game. The Wings lost, but it's still a good game because no team led by more than a goal the whole game. So it was a good time. Anyway, yeah, this is mostly about hey tonight Montreal, Toronto, or not Toronto. Well, yes, some other. I'm in a whole different decade right now, aren't I? Yes, of hockey history. No, Detroit Montreal tonight is going to be a big game. Every game is a big game right now in the Eastern Conference amongst a handful of teams. So I think Washington's playing tonight too. I've looked at the schedule again. But oh no, Penguins are playing. Yeah, yeah, Pens with the Predators tonight. Which yeah, that's again. I really wish that game was at a different time so I could watch it while watching the Wings game. Because yeah, the Preds are playing the Pens tonight, and that's going to be interesting. Because I think the Preds are the sleeper team in the West, playoff wise. Well, them and Winnipeg, both are again sleepers, as opposed to say Colorado, Edmonton, which are the favorites, in the West. I would not be surprised. Again, one of those two teams will go on an upset run. It always happens every year in the playoffs. There's some team goes on an upset run. So yeah, oh yeah. But again, as a Wings fan, I need Nashville to win that game tonight against Pittsburgh. That would be good for I think Detroit might mathematically even need that to actually be in the race, but we'll see. We're coming down to the last game, and yeah, Boston's playing Washington. Another huge game as it implies to the Wings tonight. At 7. Yeah, again, same time where Detroit's playing Montreal tonight, so I have to watch like three different screens. It's probably going to be a whole thing. I'm borderline on hockey guy Shannon type stuff of like having multiple feeds of things up and trying to keep track of all of them at the same time. Because yeah, all the puck drops are rough. For both Pens Preds and Caps Bruins. Yeah, 7 o'clock start, same as Wings Montreal. Which is the last home game tonight for Detroit. I just noticed that looking at the schedule here. Yeah, that's game I wanted to go to because my friends got season tickets. Again, I went to the Rangers game a couple weeks back, which was super enjoyable despite the loss. My first game at the LCA, great time. Um, really actually enjoyed it. It was really fun. Again, despite the loss, but it wasn't a bad loss. It was actually a really close game. Actually, I think Detroit kept that closer than I expected going into it. I'm like, yeah. But again, I made those plans months and months in advance because I did have a suspicion that the Eastern Conference may come down to like a playoff race the last couple of weeks and days of the season, which is what happened. So I was right in that prediction. So yay me for being uh, semi-correct on a prediction for once. The only reason I've not made it, what is today? The 15th of April. Playoffs start in a couple of days, official, or no, season ends on, I think, the 18th. Playoffs officially start 20th. I've yet to pick a bracket yet because I don't know what the bracket's going to be. That needs to look like what are the matchups going to, I need to see that first because I've been pressured by other people in advertising to like pick your bracket, NHL. I'm like, I don't know what the teams are yet. Why are you telling me this already? It's too early, which it really is. Because we don't know what the East. Well, the West is somewhat shaping up now, but the East is totally still wild card, pun intended, because that's why we have those as a thing. Yeah, between I'd say Detroit, Pittsburgh, and Washington. I don't know if Philly's still in it. We'll see. Uh, Again, it's 4/5 team race if you count how the Metro is working out and the divisional standings between the teams. But yeah, uh, again, as obviously a Wings fan, tonight is very, very sweaty. I told my friend that a couple days ago before the Toronto game, like, or even or no, after Detroit beat Pittsburgh in overtime, so we got a point off that. They got two, jumped ahead of us in the standings, and that made a three-place tie based on tiebreakers. Detroit was second. Um, at the time, it's totally changed now. Like it's still irrelevant even though I'm making this. So, ignore all of that. Yeah, no, Detroit is still in the race. So is Pittsburgh and I think Washington. I don't know if Philly's still realistically in it. We'll see. I don't want to count them out. That's what's fun about watching this. This is like, and again, talking to like my mom about stuff. Who, again, someone who watched hockey in the '90s, but not currently. And even myself getting kind of just reacquainted with stuff after a kind of lapse in watching the league, realized like, oh yeah, the way the league is now, if you're in this spot, like post trade deadline where you're racing for a playoff spot and you just miss it by a couple points, like even by three, say 3 points, that's about the equivalent of losing a first round playoff spot, back in the '90s, when there were less teams and less parity and no salary cap. So yeah, it's a different league. So yeah, I'm still helpful. I'm still hopeful for the team with Detroit and where it's going and what Eiserman's got and works. But really, this offseason will be a big thing, and that's a whole separate discussion. I want to make this under 10 minutes, and we're getting close to that. So um, I'm going to go back to that Detroit Montreal preview tonight because that is the big thing, and this is my pregame, just kind of predictions, reactions. Um, but yeah, as a Wings fan, and as someone who's been watching the team all year, yeah, literally, oh man. Well, watching the team literally first 6 months of the game, but no, my biggest reaction in that Toronto game was that first goal. I was it the first goal, first or second goal, I think, by DeBrincat, because he's been snake bitten for the last over a month. I was texting a friend of mine watching the game as it happened. This doesn't really. He watches hockey, doesn't follow the season as closely as I do. I told him like, yeah, DeBrincat's not scored in literally over a month. I'm not exaggerating. It's been over a month in actual real time, not just games played. And jokingly said too, he's probably hit more posts and crossbars than he's had shots on goal. don't know if it's an actual stat, but that is what it feels like. So yeah, no, he in that last game against Toronto, DeBrincat finally, or finally for recent time at least, got that goal or got a goal. So I was very happy for that. It's nice to see him as a goal scorer. That just when you're not scoring, and you're really close to scoring, but you're not getting there, and it's game of inches. Just it's rough. So I'm happy to see him get away from that. I think that will help both tonight and the next night, and if they make a playoff spot moving forward into a first round playoff matchup. Um, I think will help his confidence just shooting wise. Not that I don't think it's been his problem. It's just honestly looking at all the shots again, watching all these games over the last 2 months. Month and a half or whatever DeBrincat's scoring. It's been basically since the All Star game when he was the MVP with what 9 goals. They didn't reward him the MVP, but they give it to Matthews because he's part of his team. It's political, but they were actually awarded MVP for that All Star game. It would have went to DeBrincat for all of the ridiculous. Yeah, again, like I said, 9 goals in 2 games. Yeah, it's against that. I know it's the All Star game. No one's really trying, but still, you got to give some credit where credit's due for just his shot on really good goaltenders. They're still going to react to it in a realistic way. So neither here nor there. I'm making a mountain out of molehill, but yeah, yeah, it's honestly it is still concerning. The back little half of this I'll conclude just to wrap this up. It is still very concerning right now as a Wings fan. Um, the last quarter of the season since early again trade deadline. I'd say more from March 1st to present, it's been concerning as a Wings fan, the way the team's been performing. The 8 game losing streak was the biggest deal. People I've talked to too that are also fellow fans are like, yeah, we shouldn't be in a race right now in the East because we should have the spot locked down, which yeah, the Wings should. I agree with that. But they dropped the ball. And part of that was Larkin being out. And again, I saw one of the stats and broadcast during the middle of that of the record with the record for the team with Larkin in and out of the lineup. It's startling. I'm like, that's not a statistical anomaly. That's significant. And it does say a lot, and continues to say a lot, and we just saw it again in that Toronto game recently. That Larkin scoring the overtime goal, he is very clutch and a key member of this team, much like Eisner was, and not just of the team on the ice, even in the room. That's what was, I think, more telling to me about his injury. It was like, oh, the team is like what 4-35, or what? That was the current stat at the time. I'm sure it changed a little bit, but it was startling. Like that's a difference. I think 9-36 or something. Yeah, that was probably sounds more correct. But either way, it's significant to the point where yeah, Larkin matters not only on the ice but in the room for leading this team going forward. So yeah, that's a significant startling thing, and just looking at this season, it's a little exhausting because he's been targeted quite a bit. Um, by other players because he is shown to be not injury prone, but he suffered injuries again because he may have been targeted as his thing. But yeah, whatever. It is what it is. I think Eisner went through the same kind of thing with his knee, but Larkin's going through it with his neck, which is probably worse. It's concerning in the long term, I think, personally, for me as a fan. But I hope it all works out because I do think he's a core part of what we're building for a team going forward in the next several years. Yeah, I think a lot of things going forward will depend on how this season ends. That's why I'm doing this right now. I think this is a significant moment in time. I do want to highlight because, um, yeah, if the Red Wings basically need to win out the last 2 games against Montreal, which shouldn't on paper be a problem. They're a standings wise, look at all the direct points, far less team, but we're talking Detroit Montreal, so all bets are off. The original 6 teams. You can't predict anything. Uh, I know it's weird because it makes no logical sense because there's different player lineups over different eras, but historically, certain teams like again, like there's a historical preference that if it's a playoff game, Montreal is going to beat Boston. That just happens, and always has happened historically. Doesn't matter what the lineups and the records are. That's what happens. It's a weird thing. It's how it is. And but yeah, Detroit, Montreal. Like yeah, in my opinion, any of the original six teams playing does not matter who's in the lineup. Honestly, the way the league is now, the whole NHL, this probably goes for every game, but I think it's probably more emphasized on certain matchups. But I would include this in that because again, we're dealing with Detroit Montreal tonight, so original six matchup, which I always look forward to. Um, again, I this is one of the games I was looking at months and months ago. Friends of mine that were interested take us making plans to go to because I wanted to go to something late in the season because I had the inkling months ago this Eastern Conference may come down to a playoff race the last couple games of the season, which it is. And I wanted to be there to watch some of it. I guess I got to see that Rangers game live, which is awesome. A really great time. Honestly, probably the best time I've ever had at a game that the Wings lost. So, yeah, that's saying something. But again, my first time at the LCA for a Wings game. I went there previously for a concert, but my whole time watching there at the concert, I'm like, I want to see hockey here. What it looks like. And yeah, I did. It was great. So more of that next year, and I'll follow up on it. Again, this is the birth of a tiny thing. Um, so I do a makeshift set because we can see how it evolves. Because in my head, I know where it goes, and it's gonna be great. But yep, Detroit Montreal tonight. First of back to home and home, back to backs. Um, to determine at least the Red Wings points for the season, and then after that, it's sort of kind of out of the team's hands, which sucks. As I kind of commented earlier, I'll just circle back to it. As someone who's watched the Wings all year long this season, they shouldn't even be in this spot. Like as of like March 1st, I think they were 8 points ahead of every other team in each for that second wildcard spot. Like, we all knew Tampa was getting the first one because again, the Atlantic Division is it's ridiculous, and anyone who watches hockey and looks at it like knows how ridiculous that division really is. Especially if you're a fan of any one of those teams, especially the lower part of the division, like the Wings right now. Currently, you're like, worst division ever, because it's really hard to make a spot in that division, especially in the East. Now, should people in I can hear people out west argue with me already. That's hard there too. Yes, I understand. It's all hard for all of us in our teams to make the playoffs. Especially right now. Well, it's changed because the league expanded and there's a salary cap and parity now. So yeah, we can't really just currently expect any team to be in the playoffs any given year. I don't think at this point with the NHL. Um, but that's why it's fun to watch. For me, not only how the season develops, but especially around now we're getting to playoff time. Even if the Wings miss, which honestly, as a fan, they probably will. I've not had a lot of confidence watching them play the last month or two. They really kind of dropped off on just, I wouldn't say effort. I don't know what's going on, honestly. I wouldn't even say effort. Like, that would be the first thing. But like, no, I've seen them. Like, they're still trying. It's just, and again, in recent results, both Pittsburgh and Toronto, they were trying their ass. They were going above and beyond. So that's not even aimed towards that. That criticism is probably more towards the last month or two before those two games. Um, Even the Rangers game I went to, I there was a lot of effort there on the ice. I saw firsthand, and you see a lot watching the game in person you don't see on broadcast. So that's why I wanted to go to that game too. I wanted to see, how this team is going to play a top team in the league in late season. Um, and I was impressed. I thought they played pretty well, even though they lost the game by a goal. They kept it close. There was never more than a one goal lead by either team, so it was still all fun by me. In terms of like the quality of the hockey on the ice. Except for really bad turnovers for him, which was a goal, but yeah, no, it was good times. Anyway, this is dragging on to 20 minutes now. What's happening? Um, because this is meant to be my little just kind of previewing Detroit Montreal tonight. Just kind of venting because, boy, it will be interesting because they were almost at almost about 2:30 local time for me. Uh, I won't see the Wings game until 7, so I still quite a bit of time to kill. Again, the point of doing this was to also kill time. Um, while talking to the void of potential hockey fans. Which, yes, if you're looking, I realized, I know this jersey literally makes no sense if you know the Wings history. That's why I have it, because it's an aberration of just nonsense. It's a Datsuk jersey, but yeah, this is everything on here is other than this. This is stitched. Everything else, the logo, numbers are all screen printed, and yes, the striping and patterns are all. And it's apparently a Reebok, but yeah, no, I got this really cheap at a Walmart one day, a long time ago. I'm like, this is so messed up, like, because I know it made no sense. That's why I got it. I'm only wearing it because again, I need these for background. Normally, like this, if it like later tonight during the Toronto game, or sorry, not Toronto, Montreal game, I'll be wearing this. That's normally my go-to game jersey, for most nights. Although I'm working on a different Eisner jersey or a different jersey for the future, that will be an Eisner jersey with the C on it and many, many other things. Those are long-term plans I have. I, I, I may have already started buying some of the patches for that because it's gonna be really cool when I finish it. I don't want to spoil it yet, but it'll be fun. Anyway, I guess that's all for now. Yes, I mostly wanted to vent my anxieties ish about the current game and also just do this for the sake of look where we started and where we are now. Because I can say that in like 2 years and be like, hey, past that, remember Future Duck? And just have a fun little interaction with my time traveling self. Right, Future Doug? Yeah, that joke's not really funny anymore. No. Well, maybe it's funny in the future. That's fine. But no, don't. No. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yes, yeah, I know all the money you have from the yeah, yeah, advertising. Right, right. Um, no, I don't. I don't want to play Squid. With what you? Hold on, say that again. Yeah, I don't know what Four Score is. I don't really want to play that. Is it ice hockey with Abraham Lincoln's frozen head? Yeah, I don't. I mean, well, actually, that does sound kind of interesting. Maybe I'll take that up. Anyway, I gotta end this because I gotta go prepare for other things. So, next time.